Let us all say the pledge. I now a nice shark, not a mindless eating machine. If I am to change this image, I must first change myself. Fish are friends, not food.
It has to be one of the funniest lines from Finding Nemo, but if you've been a parent in the last decade or grandparent, you may have run into lines like that in movies that kind of give off a vegetarian or vegan type of thing. There's been several others, and in my house, we've struggled with that because the kids hear the lines and then they repeat it and then they don't want to eat meat. Well, there's a new book out called Vegan is Love. It's by a woman out of Los Angeles named Ruby Roth, who's about to join us. And the book details why she thinks everyone should be on a vegan diet. Follows up on this book, That's Why We Don't Eat Animals. Miss Roth joins us from Los Angeles now. Ruby, thanks for coming in today. I think a lot of people would be shocked at a book trying to tell children don't eat meat. Most parents are struggling to get them to eat something.
Yes, well, I think that the controversy really proves how little people know about what's going on in the meat and dairy industries. And I think you raise a good point. If we're trying to get kids to eat healthier, then we really need to include them and engage them in a discussion about what really goes on in meat and dairy and why our fruits and vegetables are, in fact, healthier for us.
Well, I mean, people are carnivores. We are built to eat meat as well as, we're omnivores, really. We're not just carnivores, we're omnivores. We're made to eat all of God's good creatures. And I think that in the book, you show some of the nastier sides of the meat and the poultry industry. That's not the way everything is. And if we encourage children to eat...
Well, let me interrupt.
Okay, go ahead.
We may be able to consume anything we want, but that doesn't necessarily mean that brings us the best quality of life. And if we were true carnivores, they don't shy away from gore and blood. Then we shouldn't be afraid of talking about what we do to animals. A true carnivore goes through blood and skin and hair and nails. They don't shy away.
I don't shy away from what I eat at all, but I have to ask you, are you shielding children from proper nutrients by encouraging them not to eat animal products at all? So no eggs, no cheese, no milk, no meat, no fish. That deprives them of a good many necessary nutrients, does it not?
I disagree with you. I think if we look at the health trajectories of children, we have 20% of kids from age 2 to 19 are obese. In America, the two leading causes of death are cancer and heart diseases. These are all things that are caused by or exacerbated by eating meat and dairy. And we have the American Dietetic Association, which is by no means a renegade organization. They've acknowledged that a well-balanced vegan diet is appropriate for anybody of any age and stage in life. So if we look at what we're up against and we look at all of the studies that are continuing to show the link between chronic disease and animal products, then I think it's the absolute best path that you can introduce your children to.
All right, Ms. Roth, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Well, you've heard from Ruby Roth on why she doesn't eat animals and why she thinks that kids shouldn't as well. For another perspective, we turn to Sally Fallon. She is also in the field of nutrition and has written the book Nourishing Traditions. Ms. Fallon joins us from Washington, D.C. Ms. Fallon, you heard from Ms. Roth there. She's saying, look, there's obesity in the United States. We got high cholesterol. A vegan diet is the best way to go forward, and there's no problem giving it to kids. What are your thoughts on that?
There actually is. There's a tremendous problem giving a vegan diet to children. It sets them up for multiple nutritional deficiencies. And we have the science. There were studies done on vegan children in the 1990s in Holland, and they found that they had growth problems and learning problems. They did not reach their optimal intellectual potential. And this is because of deficiencies in things like B12, vitamins A, D, and K, B6, and cholesterol. And growing children really do need a lot of cholesterol. They cannot make all the cholesterol they need for the optimal development of the brain and the digestive tract.
So she's saying that cholesterol's too high. You're saying kids need cholesterol that comes from animal fats.
They absolutely need cholesterol, and the only source of cholesterol is animal products. Now, I understand her concern about the cruelty in the confinement agricultural model, and we're very concerned about that also. We recommend that people buy their animal products directly from conscientious farmers raising their animals outdoors on pasture. But let's make sure that we're not being cruel to our children in an effort to stop cruelty to animals. Our first responsibility is to our children to make sure that they get the very best nutritionally dense diet during this period of growth. You cannot go back and get the growth later on. You have to do it during that window of opportunity, and that's when the nutritional requirements of children of people are the highest. Animal products are
sorry, that was just an interesting point. Don't be cruel to children to stop cruelty to animals. I live in a fairly major city, not quite as big as the Washington Metroplex, but both of us, I'm sure, live not that far. I know I live not that far from people that are farming beef and dairy and in poultry, and you can go out and you can buy it directly if you want or through farmers markets. There's no shortage of the ability to do that.
That's absolutely correct. And the Weston A. Price Foundation that I represent has over 600 local chapters worldwide, many of them in Canada. And all you need to do is call your local chapter, go to our website, call your local chapter, and they will provide you with a list of local sources, some of them very convenient, of animals that have been humanely raised. So let's not sacrifice our children's health to this idea of changing the agricultural system. We can have healthy children, and we can change that system at the same time. Okay, so but how do you? What would be your recommendation then for the fact that in both our countries there is a growing number, there are a growing number of children that are obese, that obviously something is not up. You can't say that that all of it, when I was a kid, it would be said, oh, well, you know, it's a gene problem or big boned. It's getting well beyond that now. Yes, and the obesity rates have increased along with the increase in carbohydrate consumption, and the vegan diet is necessarily a diet that's going to have a lot of carbohydrates in it. What you see in vegan children is either very scrawny, underdeveloped children or overweight children. And the nutrients in animal fat support healthy thyroid function, and that is a big factor in obesity. If you have a healthy thyroid gland, you have a good, fast metabolism, and you don't tend to gain weight. Okay, and one thing that I've noticed with friends, family members that have been vegan is hair gets to be thinner. Is this a sign of a lack of nutrition when the hair's getting thinner, it gets scraggly, and yes. People's hair looks much older. People that are in their 20s or 30s, their hair looks like they should be a senior citizen. Yeah. Well, yes, this would be a poor thyroid function for one thing. It's not being supported by nutrients like vitamin A, for example, which we get from the animal fats. And I think there's also a lack of sulfur in the vegan diet. We get sulfur from meat, liver, egg yolks, and sulfur is needed for a myriad of processes in the body, and one of them is having healthy, shiny hair. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Fallon. Okay, Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll have to wrap it there.